Okay, this mural, Landscape of the Mind, was done originally in 1993. So then the owner of Alice's restaurant, John Sung, thought it would be great to expand the mural. So we're doing that right now. We're not planning this out and making a drawing and showing it to the owner like normally you do. We're just improvising, and the whole thing is using our imagination and imagining a landscape and what kind of things you'd like to see in it. Using your own mind, really, a landscape of the mind. I always had the urge to be an artist. And it was just about the only good thing I was really good at. So when I was growing up, we didn't have very much money, working class people. And so I worked as a typesetter, did night school, going to the Art Institute, and then going to San Francisco State. Then I had friends. I had friends in art school at SF State, and I had friends outside who all helped me, and that's how I became an artist.
I remember, I think it was about the third grade, I started doing some drawings, and somebody said, "Hey, that's pretty good," and that continued for up until high school, and had a couple of great art teachers, and when I was in high school, they encouraged me, and somehow I ended up at Massachusetts College of Art. Glommed onto the ceramics and majored in that the last couple of years I was there. I did paint for a while, a few years, and enjoyed the full arm movement painting. So when the opportunity came along, I guess you'd say this is the first real formal mural that I've worked on.
I always had a very creative spirit. I grew up near woods. Go out into the woods and I would just climb trees and admire nature, and I had stories all the time running in my head and just vision. In the evening, draw. I would just constantly draw, even as a child. For me, it was that it was always there. It was something that it was internalized so deeply in me that that's the only way I saw myself. I didn't see myself in any other way.
My mom and dad were both artists. I was always surrounded by unlimited supply of colored pencils, pastels, oil paints, not so much acrylics, water paints, etc. That's how I got started in art. It was really an insidious one. I make jokes about how my DNA and my little chromosomes have like art brushes or sewing machines or something attached to them. So I think it's really in my DNA. Although I did choose to become a physical therapist pretty young and did the typical medical volunteer candy striper, I always had art, not even in the background, I wouldn't even say that. I would say in parallel places in my life.
Working with Henry has always been wonderful. I've tried to understand and bend my way of painting to work with what he's also doing. in a completely different style. So that becomes an interesting challenge, you know, and a learning experience too.
As far as my relationship with Paul, well, we've been friends for many years, going back to the late 70s, when we worked on the history of the sunset and the library, and then we've worked on other projects. You know, he's just been a very good friend of mine who's helped me out for many years.
But the camaraderie and the support and the welcoming and the nurturing of the muralist community here in the San Francisco Bay Area and abroad is just unbelievable. Everybody has been so kind and generous with their guidance, with their suggestions on how I can better myself as an artist. So everybody who's contributed to my path so far, I am so grateful for everything that you've done for me.
I married together my art interest and my exploration of color that you know, I constantly experimented with, into doing color consulting on Victorians here in San Francisco and around the country, and started a painting company that flourished until I retired from that. But it was always combining that art creative spirit, and it was just who I was, you know, and who I am.
You know, they say about a hobby, people that have a hobby do better, live longer, because it takes you places you never knew. Being involved with art, the people I've met, the places I've gone, just been terrific. Of course, making art too is, making the art itself is an enjoyable process that I just, when I get into it, it's really terrific. It's taught me to not only make art, but to appreciate other people's art.
Once I'm on the wall, the world disappears. When I see the color, I see the brush moving, I'm absorbed, and I become so absorbed into that it's my meditation. I disappear. I don't even know I'm on the ladder. So I enjoy that process where I can get into that state of mind and really have the colors affect me. It becomes a symphony that I'm watching in front of me.
What art means to me is an opportunity to connect and communicate with everything. With people, with the world, with nature, so many things. And for me, art is way more than self-expression. It's way more than me telling you about me. It's giving you the invitation to connect with me.
You know, you can't help when you're on a mural or in a collaborative workspace to have conversations go off into wherever they may lead. You know, I noticed when I had people working for me, and we would be standing on a wall of a brown color, for instance, that the conversations would be different. They would be completely different, emotionally, depth-wise, than if we were standing on a wall that was multicolored. And that's what happens on the canvas. Well, you can't help but to have the emotions of the color enter into your psyche, enter into your being, and it opens up channels.
Okay. Well,
So glad you set the indicator on.
okay, you have to really get into it and take chances and find out about yourself. And there's things you might find out about yourself that are unpleasant, and you have to go through them. And that's one thing I developed, is to overcome my sense of, oh, this is useless what I'm doing, when actually it isn't.
You know, I recently visited the art school I went to. That the school was Massachusetts College of Art, and their motto seems to be now, Mass Art taught me to be unafraid.
My dad was an engineering student, and then World War II happened. And when my dad was released from incarceration at Tule Lake, California, he came back to California and then re-enrolled at UC Berkeley, and he changed his major from engineering to fine arts. And I'm sure that was a lot of struggle in his family, but my dad stuck to his guns, and he became a professional artist, and that's what he did his whole career. So all you young people listening, do what you really know you want to do. Make it happen. There's ways of making it happen.
You have to follow your heart and your soul at the vehicle that's you can express yourself the best. And with me, it's painting.
Don't be afraid to just step out of yourself and try new things. Step out of yourself to explore not just what's in front of you, to be able to paint something exactly as it is, but how does that make you feel? How do you respond to that? What do you see in your mind when that object is in front of you, or when I think that's important, is to explore the inside world as much as the outside world, and that's your world, and so you can make it anything that you want. So enjoy it, relish what it is, this world that you live in.